This is a replica copy of the first edition, number 1, of the Manchester Guardian, Saturday, May the 5th, 1821. And at the back, the front seems to be mostly about adverts, but the back has this article that I have to go through because I really cannot believe what it says. So, it's this one, Thunderstorm. Now I'm going to try and read it, but the printing is quite small and some of the English is quite different from what I'm used to. But anyway, here goes. Thunderstorm. On Wednesday night, don't know what that is, about 1 o'clock, after a forenoon unusually sultry for the season, several very heavy showers of rain fell in Liverpool and the vicinity, accompanied by loud clips of thunder, the darkness of the atmosphere being interspersed and succeeded by uncommonly bright gleams of sunshine. During one of these showers, electric fluid was observed to pass along the south end of Edge Hill. Okay, don't know what that means. Electric fluid. In its progress, it knocked down several workmen, one of whom was so violently affected in the back of the head that for relief he had recourse to bleeding, and a girl in the garden had her arm suddenly lifted up by its effect, and felt it benumbed for some time after. Wow. The coachman of Mr. Duff was struck on the arm whilst on the box, but was merely stunned. A lady near Islington, who was sewing at the time, felt in the fingers in contact with the needle a sensation resembling that of a slight electric spark. The electric fluid entered the house of Mrs. Clare in Edge Vale, where its progress was not less alarming to the inmates than destructive to the premises, and we have never heard of a more surprising escape than that of several individuals dispersed in the inner house, of which almost every room bears testimony of the ravages of the uncontrollable element. My God. Let's have a look. It appears probable, from an examination of the appendages which the fluid has made, and the direction in which the bricks, timber, etc. have been forced, that attracted by the iron railing in front of the house, entered the wall on one side, the door, where it has shattered the bricks, torn to pieces the wood and the brickwork between the door pillar and the archway of the door. Don't know what the next word is, of the boards on the top. Shook the fanlight to pieces, burning part of the frame and leaving a black soot on the paintwork. Thence it passed up through the arched door, splitting the bricks and the stone at the bottom of the middle window, the glass of which was shattered to pieces, and the whole frame dislodged and forced into the house. God. Over the window it forced, in its way to the roof, a large hole, above which the soot appears exactly as if flames had issued from it. Its course appears next to have been towards the chimney. The cans were shattered to pieces, the ridge-stones displaced, many bricks and much cement torn from the wall, and the lead in many places forced up. It probably reached the rooms below the chimneys. God. In the lower room, the stucco, plaster, and paper were in several places broken, and the fluid, as if searching its way out, scorched the gilding of the chimney glass and peeled the top ornaments, but did not disturb the polished fire irons just below. 6 squares of glass were driven out in this room. In the room above, in one corner, stood a bundle of rods, to which it made its way, perhaps from the chimney between the lathing and the wall, as it forced off the plaster, and shot a quantity of it against a chest of drawers 11 or 12 feet distant, evidently with amazing force. In this room a young lady was standing. She felt as if her head was pressed by a weight to her shoulder, but received no further injury than the resulting from the extreme alarm at the noise of the fluid in its passage, which resembled cannon, and filled the room, and indeed the whole house, with a sulphurous smoke. God. On going to the door, she found it fast, the bolt having been forced as if were partly locked, probably from its having attracted the fluid. I keep using the word fluid. From this room it seems to have passed through the window and entered another at the right angle from it in the back part of the house, the glass and strong frame of which were broken and forced in. In another front room on the first floor, in which there was no marks whatever, another young lady who was using a pair of scissors was struck down and was deprived for a short time of the use of one of her legs. She was seriously hurt, but we are happy to say is recovering. Wow. A female servant was driven to one end of the kitchen, and a nail in the door in which her bonnet hung was drawn out and the bonnet torn to pieces. From the kitchen, the electric current seems to have escaped. Why do they use the word electric current there, but they use fluid everywhere else? From the kitchen, the electric current seems to have escaped by the upper part of the door, where the bricks and lime are loosened. The alarm occasioned to the female inmates by this terrific visitation need not be described. I don't know about that. The house appeared to be filled with vivid smoke and flame and smoke, and their fearful anticipated its falling on their heads. 2 men and a boy, who were taken shelter at the end of the house, were thrown 15 or 20 feet from the spot where they stood. One of them was taken up insensible, but is now recovering. The breast and back of the boy were severely scorched in red branching strips, as if produced by the blows of a switch. In the next house, as of Mr. Mortimer, in a room the door and the window of which were closed, the frame of a large pier glass was perforated, as if by a pistol ball, round which, as from a centre, the gilding was regularly streaked with soot. The glass was not broken. A person in the room, but was not aware of the circumstances when it happened. The greater part of the ceiling of a room above was also stripped off. No other accident, we believe, has occurred. Wow. Wow. That is an article and a half, isn't it? Wow.